Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for tuning in to ultimatemotorcycling.com. My name is Will Embree and I am here to introduce to you the newest member of the motocross community. This is the Triumph TF250X. Now we are here at the renowned Gatorback Cycle Park in Gainesville, Florida. And this track looks pretty fun. Completely different to what we're used to in California, although it kind of resembles Glen Helen slightly. Just a lot more green. And the dirt looks a little softer. So we're excited to test this bike on a brand new track. I've never ridden here before, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is super exciting because I don't know if maybe you guys have heard some of the rumors going around about how this bike might be a reiteration of something else that already exists out there. You know, they might be buying parts from other manufacturers and slapping it together to make a motorcycle, but I'm here to tell you those are absolutely false. The rumors are just not true. They went through a very detailed presentation for us last night to give us an in-depth look at the development of this motorcycle. They've been working on this thing since 2019, they said, so it's a 5-year development for this motorcycle, and they couldn't be more proud of the bike that they put in front of us here today. So yeah, this thing is completely designed and manufactured by Triumph itself. And a couple fun facts for you about Triumph. Triumph has been developing motorcycles since 1901. So Triumph engineers and the heritage of Triumph, they know how to design and build quality motorcycles. So they took that heritage and all their engineers and they put it into this motorcycle here. So Triumph actually is a completely privately owned business. They've been privately owned by one owner for about 35 years. And so it's essentially a family business. And everyone there seems to be pretty tight. So let's get into it and break down exactly what's unique about this motorcycle. And then finally, we're gonna go out there and test ride this thing. All right, so I'd say one of the major themes on this particular motorcycle is that they really wanted to make this thing easy for the mechanic, meaning the do-it-yourself mechanic. A lot of us don't have the luxury of hiring a specialized mechanic or our own personal mechanic to wrench on our bikes, tune it, change oils, change filters, blah, blah, blah. They just make the thing simpler. They do that by a few things. The engine compartment is a little bit easier to work around in. You can take the head cap off without removing the motor from the chassis. Things like the airbox here. The airbox is completely toolless. You can take the airbox off or the airbox cover off, remove the filter without any tools. Also, they design this thing so that the maintenance intervals are longer. You don't have to replace pistons as often, you know, things like that. You don't have to replace parts as often. So they really tried to make this thing just user-friendly all around. Not only were they trying to make the ride fun for all levels of riding, but they're trying to make just the general maintenance on the motorcycle, because let's face it, you can go out and have fun, but these things require maintenance. So they want to make it just the all-around experience better. So that was really cool. It's nice to see that manufacturers are doing that for us because we got to work on these things ourselves. So thank you, Triumph, for doing that. I think a lot of people will appreciate that. Yeah, and another cool thing too about this motorcycle that they make easier to work on is this muffler here. Instead of having rivets to change out your packing, they're just bolts. So if you just take the bolts out, take the old packing out, repack it. You could do it yourself, probably a 10-minute job. You don't have to re-rivet or anything like that. So that just makes another thing just simple for another maintenance item to make it simple for you to work on. Yeah, let's see what else we got going on with this thing. Oh, it's got the Pirelli Scorpion MX32 tires, front and rear. The rear tire is a 100. You know, we'll see how that goes. We asked them about the 100 tire, why they went with the 100 rather than a 110. I know a lot of guys, especially me, I prefer to put a 110 on there. You know, the 100, sure, you're going to save a little bit of weight, and that's respectable. But the 110, you just get a little bit more traction out there, and I prefer traction over, you know, a couple ounces of weight, maybe a pound or two. I don't know the exact amount, but either way, they did a ton of testing on this thing, and this is the tire set that they chose for this motorcycle. So yeah, like I said, I mean, it's not a bad tire at all. It's an amazing tire. Personally, I mean, if I owned the bike, I'd put a 110 on there. But we're gonna go out there and try this 100, see how that goes. Also, there is another thing I kind of want to note about this thing. It's all in the details, right? Everything is all in the details. If you look closely at this motorcycle and you see the welding on this thing, it's absolutely beautiful. And the thing is these are all hand done. According to Triumph, they have actual people, not robots, welding these frames together. And if you look at it close, I mean, it just looks perfect. It looks beautiful. So, I mean, you know, you can tell they put a lot of care into this thing. There's a lot of pride into the development of this thing. So, you know, you got to appreciate that. So thank you, Triumph, for putting in the effort to bringing us a brand new, beautiful motocross bike. Yeah, and it comes equipped too with the Pro Taper bars. Gotta love Pro Taper, nothing wrong with Pro Taper. Great bar, looks like a pretty nice bend, so we'll go out there and see how that feels for us. Oh, also too, the molding on the bodywork is all done in-house. It is designed by Triumph and it's molded by Triumph. So that was pretty unique too. You know, it's not, I think they partnered with the Cherubies for a couple of the things. But overall, everything, the bodywork, inside and out, this thing is Triumph. So very excited about that. And you know, it's just cool. I think overall, it's just really cool for our motocross community to have another platform to choose from. You know, all the other bikes out there are great bikes. This just opens the door to a different demographic. I don't want to say demographic, but it opens the door to different rider styles. Or just gives you another option. You know, gives you an additional option. This thing is plenty capable of racing. According to Triumph, I'm sure plenty capable of racing, and it's also plenty capable for your beginner, novice, you know, weekend warrior type of rider. So yeah, let's move on to the technology part of it. Of course, now they have an app. They have an app where you can control, you can manipulate some of the map settings on there. But what's also interesting about this thing, about this application, is not only can you adjust the maps, but within the dashboard, they have sensors throughout the motorcycle that gives you diagnostics. So you can look at the diagnostics, it'll throw a code, kind of like a car. If your check engine light goes on, it's gonna throw a code and it'll tell you what needs to be fixed. This kind of has the same concept. On the dashboard itself in the app, you can review all the diagnostics, if anything. You can review, I mean, it gives you all the data on the motorcycle. You know, the time between intervals, if you change parts, things like that. It's pretty unique. I haven't delved into the app yet, but we'll take a look at it today, I think. And you know, if we do some long-term reviews, we'll be looking at the app a little bit more closely. Yeah, and so if you're looking to buy a motorcycle this year, this thing MSRP's for $9,995, and currently, I think I mentioned before, but currently there are 89 approved dealers in the U.S. That will offer this motorcycle. And also another cool thing I want to mention about the development process. They didn't just get guys like Ricky Carmichael out here to test this thing, to help develop this thing and really mold this thing into what it is. They went out and tested with all levels of riding. Everyone from your absolute beginner to Ricky Carmichael. So if you can imagine, that's pretty much the entire realm of motocross riding. So this thing really is catered for all levels of riding. If you're a top competitor, you're out there charging, you can build this thing out, no problem. And if you're just a weekender, you want to go out there and just have some fun with your buddies, this thing's got plenty for you. This thing is a pretty cool looking bike. I like the black and white, the neon green or the fluorescent green, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty cool looking. I'm excited to get out there and test it today. Track's looking good. Looks like some of the boys are starting their bikes up, so let's get out there and go ride this thing. What's up, man? You want over by the stand or?
Wherever you want, because I got zero already, so we're good.
Okay.
We can put a little bit on it. All right.
Usually, what you set it to?
102 to 105.
Okay.
Been our target today.
Maybe because I'm light.
Yeah.
I'm 160 pounds.
Yeah. You were the closest by far. I almost left it. I'm like, I'll put a little on it.
Awesome. Thank you. Also, a quick question.
Yeah.
The head seems pretty loose.
Oh yeah.
Is that how you guys do it?
Tighten it up. Yeah. We'll put a little drag on it. That's
okay. Yeah, a little bit more. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna run it like this, and if I make adjustments, I'll come back.
Okay, if you need it, just give me a shout.
All right. Thank you. man, I gotta dust all this Ricky Carmichael roost off me. Anyway, guys, we just finished up here at Gatorback Cycle Park, riding the Triumph TF 250X. And I gotta say, I mean, obviously it's a dirt bike, so it's a ton of fun. But really, I mean, it's a comfortable bike. It really is comfortable. Like I said earlier on, you know, the frame is aluminum spine frame. They did that for stability and lightweight. This is, in fact, the lightest bike in the 250 class. I'll look up the exact weight for you, but man, just literally picking it up and off the stand is just super simple. Even here at the track, just throwing it around the corners, it really is actually pretty precise. In the corners, I felt like it tracked really well. Yeah, I mean, like honestly, today it was super soft. The dirt conditions are really good. It's actually really like nice and loamy. Some hard pack in some areas, but really for the most part, soft. The ruts, they aren't exactly precise. They're a bit more forgiving, if you will. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of hop around, put the front end where you want it, and it'll just track through quite nicely. So I really appreciate that about this. It's really nimble. I mean, given that it's the lightest bike in the class, it is super light. It really feels light on the track. Feels light around the pits. So yeah, I mean, I personally really appreciate that feeling. Even in the air, it's just easy to kind of balance and correct itself. You'll see some of the footage all day today. I mean, yeah, I just had just a ton of fun on this thing. I mean, you know, like I mentioned earlier about the Pirellis, about the 100 size rear tire, but to be honest with you, I mean, it hooked up really good. Like I had no issues with it at all, and it was actually pretty slick here. At some of the corners and between the jumps were kind of muddy, but I mean, it really hooked up fine, and the dirt's super soft, like I said, and I had no issues with it at all. To be honest, I mean, it's really a good tire combination, front and rear. The Pirelli's MX32s, so I got no complaints on the tires at all. But really, just overall, I mean, it's just a fun, really nimble bike to ride. And I messed with the maps too. Honestly, for the most part, I stayed in standard map, which is the aggressive map. The standard map is with the light off. You hit the M for map, light off, standard map, and that's the most aggressive map you're going to get out of this bike. If you hit the M switch or the map switch once, it's going to be map 2, which is going to be in its standard stock form. It's a more mellower map, you know. So you got mellow and you got standard, which is aggressive. When we look at the app, inside the app, they're going to have preset map settings depending on the conditions. If you're riding super sandy tracks, or if you're going to ride if it's wet and muddy, if it's raining out there, they have a mud map selection. They have a hard pack selection. You know, so if you go into the map, it's really cool. They have all these presets. I think it's about 10 or so that you can just select. And when you select any of the presets that are in there, it's gonna be map 2. So you're always gonna have the standard map in map 1. Again, that's aggressive. And the map 2 is gonna be whatever you set it to be. So you can select any of the presets on there. And if you hit map 2, that's gonna be whatever it is, whatever conditions you're racing in. And they're all named accordingly. It's just pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty neat. I didn't really mess around with the maps too much. So like I said, just a standard map one. I dabbled with the traction control because they did do some watering about halfway through the day. It got muddy and slick, so I did some traction control. It worked. I mean, it really does work. It's pretty interesting, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't typically like to use it, but it was just fun to play with. And you can feel the bike working. You know, it's you'll feel the vibrations a little bit differently. You kind of feel the engine kind of thinking, if you will, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was pretty cool. And then pretty much I just stayed in map 1, the standard map. It rips in the standard map. I mean, this thing really is fast. I mean, like second, third gear, it'll pull, and it really is linear. I mean, their claim to being a linear power delivery is true. But it revs really quick. It'll get into the high end of the rev range really, really quick and kind of plateau. It doesn't really fall off. You're not like you're gonna rev out on second gear and it totally just falls on its face. It'll still pull, but it doesn't really pull super long. It'll rev really quick. It'll accelerate super quick. I mean, it's noticeably different than other bikes I can think of, which is really cool. I mean, it's fun to have a nice fast bike. But yeah, second, third gear, like I can feel it really pull. It'll plateau and it'll stay. It'll hit the rev limiter and it won't fall on its face. So that was really cool to kind of experiment with. The suspension felt really good all day. I really didn't mess with the suspension at all. We set the sag this morning. The guys set it for me at I believe it was 104. They said the sweet spot is between 102, 105. I didn't change any of that. It felt really good. The rear shock is really good. This KYB suspension is pretty cool. Felt really good. It was planted. The rear end was planted really, really well. Even through some of the slick, wet stuff, it was planted. And this place got really rutted up too, especially down those fast sections. There was this one section where it's just kind of wide open, long left turn, and it was fun. I mean, super rutted, so it'll stay planted once you get in those ruts. And even the slick stuff, even when I'm full throttle on the slick, muddy part, the tires hooked up fine. The rear end didn't swap out on me or anything like that. It was good. I feel like maybe overall, the suspension maybe a little soft. I would probably stiffen it up a bit. If I get this back to California and start testing it on like Glen Helen or Fox Raceway, something like that, I'd probably definitely stiffen it up a little bit. I personally prefer a little bit of stiffer suspension, a stiffer front end. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, really no complaints there. It felt really precise. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, I'm showing you guys the other side of the motorcycle. It's a little bit dirty, but this morning I showed you guys the pipe side. Pipe looks pretty sick, but this is the airbox I was talking about earlier, and this is the vented airbox. This is so when you buy this bike, it comes with two airbox covers. It comes with a non-vented one and a vented one. So today we're running the vented ones. Just gives you a bit more airflow, and it seemed to work out really well for me. But yeah, no, overall, this is a really cool bike. I think you guys are going to be excited about it. We'll put some more details in our written article about some of the more techie stuff on this thing. But yeah, hopefully we get this thing back to California and do some more laps on it. But appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll check you on the next one.